Hello everyone, we are group number 8 from age level parallel C1. Our group is composed of Coyahuasa Lisette, Guaman Maria Inés, or Marza, Lisbeth, Sarmiento Ibis, and myself, Azules Arelis. In this video, we will address the topic linguistic variation tapes in a classroom. This subject is very important because understanding linguistic variation allows teachers to adapt their methods and create inclusive learning environments. Our goal is to explain K concept with a simple example. Variable age. Age refers to how the stage of life learning is affect language learning. Children, teenagers, and adults don't learn in the same way or at the same pace. For example, children tend to learn language more naturally through observations, learning, and repetitions, while adults might require explicit grammatical explanations that they can use in the real-life context. Let me share a clear example. Currently, in my professional practice with elementary school students between the age of 5 and 8, I have noticed that videos, songs, and games are very effective because children learn best through play. In contrast, with the last year, when working with adults, I observed that debates and role-playing were more effective as they prefer activities related to their real environment. That is to say, they are useful in your work, business, etc. This shows that age directly influences the methods and state we apply in the classroom. Thank you.
Gender refers about the different expressions between men and women. Women use a more polite language, and they used to make more questions than men, because men use a direct language and show more control. For example, in a class discussion, the women students use phrases like I think or I'm not sure, while the men students are more direct in their opinions. As a teacher, you can help and encourage to your students to participate and express their opinions in an authentically way. Social economic status can also influence in the use of the language. The students of different social economic status have different level of access to the education, resources, and linguistic opportunities. For example, in a classroom, students of low-level incomes have limited access to some linguistic resources. As a teacher, we can provide support and additional resources to help them to have success.
Hello everyone, today I will explain two important linguistic variables, social level and registers. As future English teacher, it is essential to understand how these variations appear in the classroom and how they influence communications. Let's start with sociolect. A sociolect is the way people speak depending on their social group, such as their educations, professions, or community. It reflects identified and social backgrounds. For example, imagine doctors and teenagers talking about the same situations. For example, the doctor says the patient requires immediate medical assistance. The teenager says, he needs help right now. Both sentences mean the same, but they show different sociologies. In the classroom, students may use different sociologies depending on their background, and as teachers, we need to respect and understand this difference. Now, let's move to the register. Register is the level of formality we use depending on the audience and the situations. For example, at students which a teacher may say, could you please explain number 3? This is a formal register. But which friends the same student says, hey, what's number 3? This is an informal register. In the classroom, it is important to teach students when to use formal or informal register because language changes depending on the context. Thank you very much.
In this part of the video, I will explain two important types of linguistic variation in the classroom: code switching and regional variation. Code switching occurs when students alternate between two or more languages or dialects in the same conversation, depending on context or audience. This is common in multilingual classrooms and can support learning. For example, a student might say, I finished the homework, pero I didn't understand question 3. Here, the student switches from English to Spanish to clarify a point. Teachers can use this to understand students' needs and encourage bilingual skills. Regional variation refers to difference in pronunciation, vocabulary, and grammar, depending on where students come from. For instance, a student from the UK might say, I need to take the lift to the third floor, while a student from the US says, I need the elevator to the third floor. Even though both are correct English, regional difference can affect understanding. Teachers can use this diversity to teach students that English has many varieties worldwide. In conclusion, understanding code switching and regional variation helps teachers appreciate linguistic diversity and create inclusive, effective classrooms. Recognizing this difference ensures all students feel understood and supported. Thank you.
Language use is about how people adapt their words to different situations. In the classroom, students often change the way they speak depending on context. For example, during a presentation, a student may say, today I'm going to explain the benefits of reading. This is formal in structure, but the same students when talking with a classmate or friends may say, reading is cool, I found a great book yesterday. This is informal and more relaxed, but at covered, but they show the different use of language. As a future English teacher, we need to guide the students to recognize this difference and use English properly in every context. Thank you.
The style linguistic refers to the unique way which the person uses the language to transmit the meaning or to express. Students have different linguistic style which shows their personality, culture, or background. For example, in a classroom, it's possible to observe that the students have different linguistic style to write or express.
In conclusion, understanding linguistic diversity involves recognized factors such as age, gender, socioeconomic status, and regional variation. These elements influence communication, reflect speakers' identities, and enrich social contexts. In this way, teaching becomes more inclusive, better, and more efficient in different environments. Thank you.